Zool.
So
So yeah, I guess let's talk about the ICE first. Uh,
yeah,
what we have is
I looked at the PR. I made a one comment.
this is like we would probably have to do the similar thing in multiple places. This was just like this is sort of the solution we're intending towards right
Yeah,
now.
so what I was suggesting was that we might want to modify the upvartize method itself
Mm-hmm.
so that if it sees that it's an error, it returns an empty set.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because that would kind of solve all the places in one place.
Uh,
Maybe.
uh,
It might lead to other problems down the line, which is the kind of annoying thing. The
another
alternative.
another thing. Well, I guess there's two questions, right? One is that we had a delay span bug. Why did that not trigger anything? Did we crash before that? And if we crash before then, that would answer my question. Second would be that yes, I guess the possible three values for it from the looks of it are going to be error, infer, and tuple itself. But the method subs where we do this probably cannot, I guess, does not return, does not have an inference context. So we would have to go and we can't do this in place in Upwork TY. We would have to basically add a function to inference context to kind of handle this in other places.
Sorry, why would we have to add an inference context?
So
Because we have to
like
resolve it. But the upvartize method already.
I'm saying like just to handle a similar case in other places. Like today, it happened here. It's possible since we made this change in multiple other places. We might see the error happened here. Like this is where we had a TY kind error, but it's possible that at some point TY kind is TY kind error in other parts of the code. We just don't have an example for it. And that might, and those might be places we might need to resolve.
Yeah, so places that are not calling upvartize, you mean, or?
We call tuple upvartize there, right? And then we resolve it, and then
in your
we use
fix
that.
you do, yeah, but in the original code.
Yeah, in the original code we don't need to in this one, but we do similar thing in multiple other places, like where we actually have to resolve. So in that case, we would probably look for a tuple and instead of an inference variable, as kind of what I'm going with. So let me pull it up. I guess that might be easier. Hold on. That's up here.
Well,
give me 1 second. I'll pull it up.
so another option. It is interesting. Why did this get set to error in the first place? But it's certainly useful. Like the error type does.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not saying that I'm not against the error type. I'm more saying that you probably should do something similar around when we use resolve as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. We're going to have to vet various bits of code, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah.
The main thing I'm saying is it would be nice. It would be nice if the upvartize method in particular were made aware of the possible. Like it shouldn't be an error to call it. It shouldn't cause a ICE to call it with high error. I don't think it should instead have some useful defined behavior. The only thing I don't know is whether that behavior should be just return an empty list, which probably is the right thing to do most of the time, or to return a result or something, which would be more annoying, but would allow us to like, you can kind of call or default if you want the empty list behavior, but if you know, maybe there's some logic where it expects to find something in that list and it would ice if it doesn't find it, then an empty list would cause its own problems. So
That's also fair.
I don't know that any such case exists, however.
Yeah, I guess you would have to try it out. What I was going for was how do we handle the error case in rest of the parts of the compiler? Like, what if we get a TY kind of error in places things are supposed to be infer?
Right, it's a little ad hoc, but usually the idea is error is supposed to mean that some error was reported to the user. So
Yeah.
the idea is to try not to do too much work in that case, and generally to propagate the error. Actually, another option would be to return a single entry list with just error in it. But anyway, I don't know if that's actually better. Like the main thing that you do want to try to avoid if you can is, either ICEs, of course, or like further errors being reported as a result of getting error. So like if there's a type mismatch, you don't want to necessarily report that because that seems weird. That usually just means downstream stuff that the user has to ignore because it doesn't apply. I guess what I would probably say is either make it return result and then kind of inspect. That'll take you on a little tour and you can inspect what the right behavior is. My guess is most of the time it's to be an empty list because you just don't want to do the work that's being done. But it might sometimes not be, or make it return an empty list and still just do a grep. Either way, it's kind of like we got to go inspect the callers and see what.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing. Wait, I had. Give me 1 second. This was. So this was caused because of a delay. Okay, actually, I lost my train of thought. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We can. One question that we were trying when we were running this was, what is the UI dependencies set of test suite supposed to do, or UI full deps that's as a sibling directory to UI deps? So there's UI dash full deps, which is kind of a test suite that's sit next to the UI test suite. I have never seen it being run, and according to Roxanne, it might be failing on master as well.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Oh, I think those are tests that require require you to have built everything from a given stage. Like they usually would be relying on the compiler libraries, for example. So in order to run those, you can't just build standard. You have to build all this stuff. And
okay.
Figure it out.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Also, this PR had a 3% regression. The tuple one had a 3% regression in WG Gamma. I am assuming this is because of the added obligation and like the branches that we do, but I'm not sure what all is part of the what's it called? What all gets accounted for? Wait, okay, that's yeah. So when it says full incremental and incremental change in like the comparison and on the perf test, is that just the number of instructions generated?
Let me take a look. Okay, so what that means is, right, this default view is measuring the number of instructions.
Okay.
And full versus incremental full and all that stuff. Full means it just did a regular build. Incremental full means you did a regular build, but in incremental mode, which adds a little overhead.
Okay.
And then incremental unchanged means you did a second run after the first incremental build where nothing changed. which in principle should be much faster.
That makes
And
sense.
so those are the different modes. And then there's sometimes some more incremental, like
Debugger
incremental with
from it.
Apache and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know why it's a 2.7% regression, but like simulacrum, I'm not overly concerned about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was mostly curious of like if you had thoughts on why it might have happened, then
It seems quite a bit.
yeah.
The wall time is quite a bit. The wall time is strange. The wall
Wait,
time is
where are you?
quite a bit faster in some tests, but that must be like that must just be because wall time measurement is not very reliable.
Mhm.
I don't
Wait,
see
how are you switching to wall time on
Oh, if you
this?
scroll to the bottom of the screen, it says choose a comparison method.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's doing a little more work. Sometimes you see small deviations for kind of random reasons that are hard to pin down. I don't know if that's a little bit of a poor answer, but I'm not sure why. I'm looking at WG grammar in the wall time. Not sure why. It looks like it also regressed wall time, or at least those are slower. The wall time measurements in general are all up the map, so I don't know what to take from that. But you know, if I had to guess why it's doing a little more work, it would be that we are now dereferencing these tuples. But like, why that particular test? You know, that's kind of a random test. Maybe it uses an awful lot of closures.
Possible.
I think that's testing this parser generator framework,
I see.
which may well use a lot of closures and generate some desugaring.
Okay,
Yeah,
so another thing.
It's a small regression on one test.
Okay, another thing I think we should do is update our tracking issue. So as part of the adding a feature gate, we kind of list this is the tracking issue, go to check progress. I don't think that like the main thing on the tracking issue has been updated in a while. So we should, I think, just point it to either the project board and kind of leave a summary that saying we are about done with the capture analysis part. And then, yeah, because right now I think this was last updated on May, or other than when I
I can update the tracking issue. Point over at the repository.
That, and I am sort of working on a progress doc, which I haven't updated in about a month or so. We can, if you want, we can put that as well. It has a list of all the PRs we have done so far to get the features in. So let me send that over. That also kind of explains this things. Give me 1 second.
So, okay. Because on that, you said one of the things that the warning. Oh, I see. Okay, that's why you're talking about the tracking issue. Now I see.
Yeah. So I'll just share this on the Rust chat. It's to do, so I don't know if you want to share this right away, but I don't know if it hurts either. It's on the Zoom chat.
Okay. Oh, Zoom chat. Okay, this looks great.
Yeah.
It's a little out of date, I guess you're saying,
but this one.
I feel like.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you. mean, this is a great doc. I wouldn't invest, you know. We have the issues and other things, so
Yeah, that's,
would-
I haven't had time to really work on this.
like I wouldn't block. I don't know if you need this record for other reasons, but
No, I don't particularly. Some of it might be required for stabilization, I think, when we put the PRs that were involved, but at least that's based on one of the things I looked at, but
mhm.
I think we can track it from the project board as well, so that's fine. This I also kind of wrote when we did a sync back in early September, just to get everyone back
Yeah.
to pace with what all we had done.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so, all right, this is done. Okay, I can just point you to the PR is also minimum capture is almost cleaned up. The two things that are kind of there left are sort of the logging part and the pattern issue that we discussed. Both are in works right now. So let me just, okay. So again, I just sent this on Zoom chat. This kind of is a PR in works that shows how the logging things are being done. How the more like what the logging now looks like. It still needs some cleanup and the minimum capture part, but basically, I think this is kind of what we had talked about. So if you scroll down, there's a standard error that basically what I'm pointing towards.
Yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah, so it's starting to get there. And yeah, I think, wait, did I list anything else? Hold on. Yeah, okay, so one more thing would be, so one thing that we also do part of Clojure that we haven't kind of updated to place is to use Clojure. We use Clojure origin to point to things where that the Clojure is an FN1 Clojure and FN mute Clojure, and why did we ended up picking that particular trait for that Clojure. It currently uses I think it's a variable, just a variable name, or it might just be an ident, and what's it called? And like just the span of it. I'm gonna just pull up. Do we want to move that part to to use places, or do we want to keep it as is for a bit? And when we start using places post type check, then we move that over.
That's only used to print error messages, right?
Yes, at least from what I could see.
It seems relatively low priority. I guess
Okay.
it would be better for it to use a place.
Okay.
But we can print a more precise message, like, and not mislead users.
That again is a little concern because I think we discussed this a while back that we might need to start keeping track of two expressions. Primarily because there's an expression that resulted in, so we have two things going on. We have the path length and we have the capture kind. So
yeah, I understand. You might capture the short path with the read and the long path with the write. No.
Yeah, so it's possible that we say, oh, we might need to need better investigation on how we do error reporting around that. So that was also one of the concerns, like maybe this, before I go implement this, maybe we should just.
I would defer that if it seems like a reasonable deferrable item.
Yeah.
And for now, you can just generate, some variable, like truncate to the variable name and pick a span, and it'll be good enough.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. Oh, I see. That's what you meant by pick a span. Oh, okay. I guess that's also fair. We can just truncate the variable name.
I mean, updating it to a path is all, updating to a place is also fine. Like if that's easy.
It will probably be a minimum capture information, so it needs to store both the place, and I guess we don't need the capture kind in this place, so we just need an expression ID really, and a place. So yeah, okay, yeah, we need both. We need an expression ID and a place.
Basically, I think whatever's easiest makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
good thing.
I think we can leave it for later as well because this won't be too big a change to update. I think.
Right. If I remember, it's a pretty it's a relatively isolated structure that's only used in a few
Yeah.
places.
Yes. Okay, and let me just confirm this is sort of the structure we were going for our change to expert use visitor delegate. So let me just where's the give me 1 second. I'm finding. Wait, I think one of the files. Oh no, I think I found it. Yeah. So copy the link. That's that. Yeah, so this is kind of like now we have a dedicated place and an expression ID that's used for diagnostics in the delegate.
Yeah.
That looks fine.
So basically not using place with your ID anymore, which is.
But yeah, but just explicitly going that this is the place that it should be used for diagnostics, and
Yep.
that's the one.
That seems great. I think of the only nitpick I would have is that I would probably add to the comment that sort of to say what, like, expressly say that this may not be the here ID of the place.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's a
and
fair
give an
point.
example where it's not.
I think, yeah, we put that where we actually make the distinction with pattern, but I think, yeah, they should be highlighted in the interface. Yeah, I
I
think,
see, yeah. That's good.
yeah, I'll ask when we can move that up.
This is cool.
Yeah,
Do we
this
use
is,
place with, like,
sorry.
no, I was wondering what, if this, how many other uses of the place with here ID struct?
It's still used within memory categorization to pass around information, which I think is fine because otherwise there's too much decoupling that not
Yeah,
for memory categorization is required.
that makes sense. That's fine.
Give me 1 second. Dhruv had a question about something in Clippy. I'm trying to find that. Let me just quickly ping him again. It's basically around what some certain variable names mean, and it wasn't entirely evident from the name. Give me 1 second. Let me just ping him. Hold on. Found it. So there's this lint, escape lint in Clippy, and there's this block, which is, okay, let me just share screen, I guess. Or, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Or I'll just send you the file link, I guess that's easier. So there's this block on line 140 where the place with her ID is called CMT. Is that, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Mostly curious as to like having an idea what we are editing around, and if some of these things still just making sure that still makes sense to separate out in all places based on
Well, this
just
doesn't look like it's even using the here ID at all.
it does if you look at line 127.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. It does look like it looks to me like this wanted
Yeah.
the other ID.
Yeah, that as well. I think this, now that I read it, I think we need to keep the her ID here with
That's
the
annoying, but yeah.
I guess we can turn that into that we keep the place with her ID, but
Also have the diagnostic ID.
also just have a suggestion that suggested diagnostic ID.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
you could do that. It's a little
it's
more complicated.
yeah, it's yeah, we'll probably go and use it in a lot of places then, but it's I guess my question on that would be, when should, like, I guess the recommendation would be use the diagnostic ID where possible, unless you really need the expression ID for that exact place.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I would think the advice would be use the diagnostic ID for reporting.
Diagnostics, really, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's okay. I think that's probably.
And use the other ID if you need to know the ID of the place for some reason.
I guess my point behind that one was it's possible that I actually don't know how many times we keep a track of expression ID for not diagnostics. So if we do it for genuine purposes, it like, and then it kind of trickles down into diagnostics, then it might be an interesting
Yeah, but that
question
would
there.
be like
And I don't know where in the
that would
compiler
be
that
a bug in the current code, kind of, right?
okay. Okay, that's fair. So okay, yeah, I'll discuss it with that. But just curious, what is CMT mean in this consume function? Like, what?
That's an older name. We used to call these a long time ago. This structure was called CMT, and it stood for like category, memory, and type or something.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was like the combination of the. Anyway, now we call it play.
Okay, so I think, yeah, that's all I have for this. Yeah, I'll discuss the ice with Roxanne and make sure that we go we go with the error solution and see, hopefully this doesn't break things everywhere, and like we don't need particular information. Also, actually, if it's an error kind and we need a particular value within that tuple, it will just not work anyway. Okay, but we need to make sure that it doesn't just completely throw extra errors. So that, and
right. Either by returning the empty list
or just in some kind of indication that things are wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry. Upward ties or tupled upward ties both might be called, but let's see. So that's not too many, honestly. There's one in pretty printing, in which I guess we can, if we get an error there, we can just print tie is not available. So that's not hard. There is some stuff in the borrow checker that uses it.
The pre-printing one is kind of a good example, I guess, of why you might want to return a result, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a special variable, a special type called error reported,
Oh,
which we use often with results to indicate, like as the error type for a result, to indicate that an error was already reported. Just FYI.
okay. That's good to know. Hold on, I'll just add that as a note.
Yeah, I just did a quick rip that. You're right, we don't call it that often. I apologize.
Yeah. I think all places we do is just
Some of them, yeah. Some of them, like the mirror
yeah.
shim, probably can't actually get there if there have been errors reported, but I would prefer not to hard code that, but I think it's probably
Yeah,
true.
that's fair. I'm assuming same with CodeGen that we would have probably failed way like CodeGen LLVM. We would have
Yeah,
failed way
not for
before.
sure.
I think most of our issues would be like traits and type check, and type check is the one creating this, so that wouldn't be too bad. So really traits, because that runs both before and after type check.
Yeah, I'm just looking based on this quick read. Most of them look like they would work fine for returning an empty list, but
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, I'll look into the error reported. Is it part of Rust-C or is it part of or is it part of the Rust standard? Okay, it's part of Rust-C. Okay. Yeah, it's in Rust-C errors and
yeah, Rust-C errors. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that at some point should be reported. Okay, and yeah, otherwise you do default. Okay. Yeah, so I think this is all I have. Do you want to discuss anything else, or yeah, what 20-ish minutes?
Not necessarily. I guess we can look real fast at the issues.
Okay, yeah.
Well, sure.
So hopefully, if everything goes well, there would be at least a PR for number 20 by Monday, and once that gets merged in, I'll rebase, and then the other ones that are open should be open by next week. Ideally, week after we have manual capture in the compiler.
Yeah. Okay. How close do you think the minimal capture is?
It's ready. Right now it has a hack in place to deal with the pattern, where it just changes the her ID within the place with the her ID structure in expert user visitor. But other than that, like I've commented on it, like Logan, like all of us kind of went and just sat together and kind of added a bunch of comments. If we want, we can kind of create a PR and you can start reviewing it, or we can just slowly get to it once number 20 is merged.
Okay. Either way, this looks great.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do have to fix the ice, so I guess that should take some.
Yeah, there's ice as well. Yeah. I'll work with Roxanne with that, and yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that's
All right.
good meeting.
All right. See ya.
Talk to you later. Bye.